Hi, if you want to get through your breakup, if you want to get over your ex, but you just really don't know how and you keep getting overwhelmed by your grief, I'm going to teach you a simple exercise that pretty much anyone can do that's going to help you work through that giant orb of emotion that we call a breakup in just a second. Hi, my name is Olivia. I am passionate about helping you understand what relational trauma is so you can deal with it, overcome it, and move on with your life. So today, everything is coming from my book, I Can't Believe How Much This Hurts, How to Process Your Breakup. I will put a QR code on the screen and I also put the link in the description. So today is a grief exercise that you can use to help you start to pick apart this thing we call a breakup with all this emotion and start to kind of make sense of what it is we're experiencing. Because otherwise we just keep taking bits and pieces and we just kind of regurgitate those parts and those emotions, but we don't ever get the whole slice of all of it so we can really unpack it and take a look at it. So if you go back and watch the prior video, which I will put a card in this video for, it walks you through how to set boundaries with your grief. And then it also has you say, during the times that you're going to do grief work, this is what you're agreeing to do. So here is the grief work. This is how you do some of that grief work. And it's one of many ways. It's not the only way, but I find it's a very simple way to be able to break stuff down and get through it in terms of your emotions, because grief is so emotional, has many faces. It's like an orb of emotion and it can absolutely be all consuming, which is why you want to set boundaries with it, because it doesn't get to consume you, right? It's like, no, I can experience this loss and I can experience this grief, but I don't need to be consumed by my grief, because grief is normal. It's a normal part of loss and we can deal with it and we can work through it. Okay. So again, only do these exercises if you feel you're in a safe space to do so, because of course this is not therapy. But if you are too overwhelmed, I would definitely seek help from a local professional in your area to help you get through kind of whatever you need to get through to be able to do exercises on your own. If you're ever overwhelmed, take a break. But again, if you're too overwhelmed, definitely seek help from someone in your area. And that again would be if you're not able to do your daily functioning skills and just kind of get through your life, or if you're having thoughts of harming yourself or anyone else, definitely want to get some help from a local professional. Okay. So if you're moving forward with the exercise, this is going to start on page 7 of I Can't Believe How Much This Hurts. And this is what we're doing during that break when we're doing our grief work. So I am going to put on the screen a list of emotions. Feel free to take any off, to add any other emotions that you're finding that you're having and experiencing. For many of us, we don't have a huge emotional vocabulary. So it's kind of like, I feel sad, I feel mad, and I feel maybe hurt. Maybe I can say I feel hurt, but for the most part, I might be sad, happy, and mad, right? So when we have way more emotions, it helps us to just have a guide that says, okay, here's an emotion. Do you relate to this? And if so, how? So what you want to do is take those emotions that I've put on the screen and get yourself a notebook. You can also use index cards, but I find most times you're writing more than the back of an index card. So you need like a whole bunch of index cards. So it just helps to have a notebook. So what you want to do is take out your notebook. It's going to be your grief notebook during the time that you're working on your grief. And you want to write at the top of the page whatever that emotion is. So let's just say I'm feeling very angry today. And I'm going to look at my sheet of the emotions. You can take a screenshot of the emotions I put on the screen for you. And maybe I choose, okay, today I'm angry. So I'm going to write anger at the top of my notebook page. And it's just every way that I'm feeling angry, everything that's coming up for me. So remember, if you go back to that prior video, in that example that I gave, I was going to do my grief work on Tuesdays at 5. So if I say, okay, here we are Tuesday at 5 o'clock, I'm doing my grief work, having a lot of anger, I'm also going to set a timer. So maybe I decided for my grief work, I want to do 30 minutes worth. And when I'm done, I want to be done. So I'm going to set a timer on my phone and I'm just going to write every way that I'm feeling angry, just anything that pops up, whether it's a memory that now makes me very angry. Maybe I'm angry at myself for my behavior, what I did. Maybe I'm angry about the way it didn't work out. I could be angry with the other person. I could be angry that who knows, whatever my grief tends to bump into old grief. So maybe an old thing is coming up for me with this present anger that I'm feeling over this recent loss. So it's really anything. There's nothing off the table. If it comes up, write it down because it's coming up for a reason. And you're just going to purge it. You're just going to write everything you can surrounding that anger. And when your timer's done, if you want to extend it, extend it. But if you're like, oh, yeah, I'm good, then you're going to shut your notebook and you're going to put it away. And then you're going to wait till the next time it is that you're doing grief work. So again, the closer you are to your breakup, then the more times throughout the week you're going to want to schedule your grief work, because there's probably more raw emotion coming up for you, more purging. So if you, let's say I do 30 minutes and maybe I write my anger and that only took me like 7 minutes. Then I'm going to go on to the next emotion. So on my list of emotions, which you can kind of see is coming from page 8. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. From page 8. Then I'm going to look at, okay, what else am I feeling? I'm feeling an emotion on here is lost. Maybe there's all these ways I'm feeling lost, and I'm just going to write those down. And at the top of that paper, it's going to say lost. And then maybe I'm going to say, you know what? That's kind of as much lost, and I still have another 10 minutes. Let me pick another emotion. Maybe I am feeling, shock. So I'm going to write shock at the top of my page. And everything that I find shocking and like unbelievable to me, then I'm going to write all of the ways that I'm feeling shock and experiencing shock. And I'm just going to purge and purge and purge. A big one is regret. And maybe I'm like, I'm not ready to touch on regret today. So guess what? For today, I'm going to skip it. But I am mindful at some point I will visit this idea of regret, and I am going to get through that. But today, that's like off the table for now. Another one is, alone. Maybe I felt really lonely that day, and I'm going to write all the ways I feel alone. And maybe it's just when I see another couple, or because the holidays are coming and I'm just like dreading going to Thanksgiving alone once again, or whatever it is that anybody experiences. So you're just going to pick an emotion, title your page, and write and revisit that same page. Maybe there's like 4 pages of that one emotion. Whatever you need, that's what you make it. And you're just thinking of purging these thoughts and these emotions and these experiences, because it's really odd. Once you get it on paper, it looks and feels very different the more you keep it in your head. So I would not just try to go through it in my mind and think about these emotions that are on a page. Actually write them down so you can look at it outside of yourself. It's really weird how it just looks and feels differently. So you may get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm visiting anger this time, I'm visiting anger this time, but maybe like your 5th time doing the exercises, you're like, I'm really not mad anymore. I don't feel any anger anymore. That's very normal. So move on to a whole new emotion and start looking at that one. So you can do multiple emotions in one setting. There may be emotions that are off the table for you right now. That's okay. Leave them off the table. At some point, you'll put them on the table and look at them. And also, you may get to a place where you're like, wow, I just don't feel that emotion anymore. And you know what? That is a sign you're healing. And so you can just move on to the next one and get through some of that. So again, you can find all of this and more from I Can't Believe How Much This Hurts, How to Get Through Your Breakup. And I will put the link in the description, or you also have that QR code. Take good care. I'm sorry you're hurting. And also you can go watch these videos to help you keep learning about relational trauma so you can really move on with your life. So I'll see you in the next one.